Dave, this is fire.
Oh, it's cooked, man. We're chopped.
Okay, well, at least we're not 30 minutes in.
Yeah, can we fix that in post?
Welcome to the Immersive Lens, the podcast exploring the technologies reshaping how we live, work, and learn.
From AI and virtual reality to creative media and design, we are diving into the tools and ideas shaping our connected world.
Join us as we uncover the people and ideas driving the next wave of interactive experiences.
This is the Immersive Lens.
So, Dave, what's going on this
Code
week?
red, Paul. Code red.
What happened? What did I do?
Alert.
What did I do?
You didn't do anything.
Okay, what's Code Red?
Code Red is at OpenAI, which is the company that has ChatGPT.
Yeah.
The CEO, Sam Altman, called a Code Red. So 2 weeks ago, if you'll recall, Google Gemini, and we talked about it on the show, Google Gemini 3 came out.
Yeah.
And it just dominated all the leaderboards for AI performance.
And that had the VO3?
VO 3.1, yeah, it was
for video production, right?
It had everything,
Okay.
and it was just bonkers. So Sam Altman called a Code Red over at OpenAI and said, "Folks, drop everything. This includes Sora 2, which you had talked about, the video generation."
Yeah.
And he's all, "Stop what you're doing. We have got to make our chatbot bigger and better." So they're working on right now. If you go to ChatGPT, at least at the time of recording, 5.1 is the model that people are using, ChatGPT 5.1. Mm-hmm. So 5.2 is in development right now, and that's codenamed Garlic.
Okay, well, it's going to be stinky?
Well, I hope not. And it's going to be spicy.
Spicy, all right.
And Garlic, it has a few different things. They're saying it's going to be better than Google Gemini 3. But one thing, and this is a little controversial, Sam Altman, and I'm taking this right from the Wall Street Journal. This article dropped on December 8th.
Okay.
And we are recording on December 9th. And he said Altman was calling for turning the crank on a controversial source of training data, including signals based on feedback from users rather than the evaluations from professionals of chatbots' responses. And the reason they're doing that is because they're not necessarily winning the race between Claude and Gemini and Microsoft for Enterprise.
Yeah.
So their meat and potatoes is the average day users like you and I and everyone listening, all our fans. So they are trying to cater that. So they're using the telemetry from the users more than the professionals.
Oh, that's interesting. So just a different approach in their training for their base model.
Correct.
And is that going to be more efficient, or you think more focused on the user versus a general pool of training? Yeah,
and remember, they're walking a tightrope between being too sycophantic, which was some of the feedback from one of their earlier models. So I'm eager to see what this looks like when it comes out, and it should be coming out anytime today, tomorrow, next week.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how fast they're doing production revs on these models. It's almost every week there's something new.
It's bonkers, and it really is an arms race between all these companies. So if this really does eclipse Gemini 3, and I am blown away by Gemini 3, if this eclipses it, I'll be like, whoa, man, what's next,
I'm very impressed with Gemini 3 and what you can produce with it, and I know we'll talk about that more later. But,
yeah. All right, what's your hot take? What's going on in Paul world?
So I just read yesterday, I know we talked about Critters, which was a AI short documentary style film of critters in the forest being like a documentary.
Yeah, you talked about that a few weeks early on in this podcast, right?
Yeah. Okay. So apparently now they're going to try to do a feature length film with critters. It'll be the first AI feature length film. So next year.
So it's going to be feature. So that's like 88 minutes or more. That's feature length, something like that.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's going to be like 60 or because I don't know if they can. We'll see. We'll see.
When you say feature length AI film, does this mean it's something you or I in our basement could make something like this, or is this going to be still you need a level of production?
You still need a production company. I think it's still you get a lot more efficiencies like everything else with the technology that's out there. They're always advancing, making things easier and quicker.
Sure.
But you still need people who understand how you're going to be compositing and how to create the characters. So they still have like character designers and storyboard artists, and it just expedites the process, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So is this an exercise in seeing what's possible, or there still are some cost savings to be realized? Like their budget's a lot smaller.
Yeah, because then you can maybe not have as many animators, but I think you still will have animators on staff, or there might be efficiency gains where you could do, even if you had the same amount of animators, maybe you have the ability now to produce 5 minutes of footage instead of 5 seconds of footage.
Oh,
so
I see.
you have a larger pool that you'll be able to edit from, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think what I'm eager to see is what tools emerge from this process. So maybe they have another tool that's making AI in the background, then they have to come up with an AI tool to take the background and put the foreground. I don't know what's going to happen.
Right, and I know we're going to talk about this, but we did this in a smaller scale, and we're going to get into it in a little bit. But I think that a lot of things will come out of it, and this is also OpenAI driven too. Obviously, they're going to be using the OpenAI tools and working with the studio that created Critters.
Even with the code red in place?
It's that's probably the catalyst, because they probably saw what Gemini was coming out with, and they were like, "We got to step it up." Yeah,
Gemini doesn't have that.
That's right. The other thing that I saw that I'm excited about is something called Hyperscape Capture, which is from Meta.
Okay.
It's using the Quest 3 headsets.
That's like a VR headset you put on your head?
The virtual reality headsets.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. What you can do now is you can scan a room, and it can
just by like looking around?
Yep. You just put it on and you scan and walk around the room, and it'll create the space. And then you can import it into New Horizon, which is their social media 3D platform. And then you can invite people into your space. So, for instance, I'll be able to go upstairs. We'll go into our TV studio, and I'll be able to map the entire studio out.
Sure.
And then it's something that we have to play with, but I should be able to then integrate it into our New Horizon world, which is, again, a platform you would have to log into. But students or people who are here, we can all be in the studio together, virtually or in person, using the VR headsets, and they'll look like they'll be in the same studio as we are.
That's
so
wild.
Yeah.
So this has some implications clearly for, say, like distance learning and online learning.
Yes. I'm really excited, because otherwise in my head I'm like, I have to model the space. I have to,
Can you imagine Zillow in like 6 months from now?
Oh, it's good. Everyone's gonna be walking around with the headsets scanning houses, and but yeah, that's probably another big,
huge, right?
Yeah, and it'll be affordable to do it, because it's the Quests are
$800, right?
No,
not even 500.
I want to say they're like $399 or something.
So I will be able to make like a digital twin of my house for $300 or $400.
Yes,
and put it online, and everyone in the world can come into my house.
Yeah. Again, there's a few steps to it, but yes, that is the goal. That is the goal.
That also seems to have some implications for, say, like video game design. So instead of the artist who would be creating the rooms, now you can just go in and scan a room, like have a set and scan it in.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so it's $499.
$499 for the Meta Quest.
Yeah, Quest 3 right now, but yeah, so I think that's something that we have a few quests here, so I'm going to be playing with that and seeing
wild.
What we can do with it.
That's bonkers, man.
But yeah.
All right, well, today's deep dive is AI video holiday greetings.
All right. I like it. And it's kind of related to Critters in a much smaller scale.
It is. That was a real nice teaser for this. So here at FLCC, our president typically makes a video holiday greeting card for the college community and kind of sends it out in email. And this year he came to the AI think tank and asked for help using AI to make part of the greeting. And I've seen the final draft. I saw it because I saw you sent it to me. And I was blown away. And it really took me back to the nostalgia of growing up with the California Raisins Claymation Christmas and the Rankin Bass Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the stop motion. And so I'm going to level with everyone. I know nothing about how this was done. This is so outside my bailiwick, video creation. So today I really want to hear about the experience. So I'm just going to kind of interrogate you about it. So let's start the table by having start.
Well, let me start by saying that I'm going to bring Jeff into this because it started with Jeff, our engineer, and then Jim Perry, and he can. Jeff, are you on?
I'm on.
Oh, so
all right, ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Kidd. Can we get like the applause sound effect? Okay.
So Jeff, do you want to talk about how this started, and then we can kind of go through the production.
Yeah, sure. So Jim and I have been tasked annually for a few years now to create a holiday card at the behest of our president, our college president.
And Jeff, real quick, Jim Perry is the technical theater and auditorium manager in visual and performing arts, right?
Yes, he and I have collaborated on many projects, video-related projects for the president and other areas of the college over the years. Okay. And he came to us and said, yep, I want to do a holiday card this year. And we said, okay, sure. What do you want it to be about? What's it about? What do you want to do? And AI was a hot topic. He's like, yeah, something with AI. And Jim, he's the writer of the two of us.
I've seen the screenplays before. They're great.
Yeah.
Yeah. He came up with the idea of what if we did like an AI generated claymation kind of style of card where it's AI generated and it somehow ties into the college, and with the head elf, what looked kind of like Dr. Nye, our president, our college president, and what the message was and all that stuff. We hadn't quite figured that out yet, but what about that? And they loved that. And they said, okay, what do you need from us? And that's when we kind of came to the two of you. I was like, okay, we want to do this. What do we need to generate this idea?
Right. And Dave, you took it upon yourself to say first.
I said, these guys can do it and they'll do a great job.
Yeah, right.
I'm the executive producer of this, the greeting card for this holiday season.
So my concern was consistency and the ability to capture the likeness, and you produced a quick little image sample, right?
Yeah, I took a photo of Dr. Nye from the FLCC website, and I had Google Gemini, the image Nano Banana. And I said, convert this, please, to an elf. And it was great. It already did that whimsical 3D animation, claymation type thing. I didn't have to prompt it, I don't think. And then I went to Google VO3 and I said, hey, can you make this elf do something? It was maybe some of the script from Jim. And that was all I did for this project.
Right. It was a very, like, is this even feasible?
Yes.
And I think that was like, when I saw that, I was like, all right, let's do this, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
So after that, Jim basically wrote the script.
Yeah, and actually, before you say that, I do want to say, so you mentioned the character consistency.
Yeah.
And that's something I think we've talked about on the show before.
Yes.
But it's just when you make, because the video clips are only like 8 or 10 seconds.
Right.
And it's very difficult to do another 8 second with the same exact character. Usually there's like some degradation or some changes.
Yeah, subtle things like their nose might kind of shift, or they might have a spot on their face, or
like blue eyes versus green eyes or something. Okay.
Yeah. So
that was a risk.
Yes. And so but I thought your proof of concept was good enough to try to move forward with it. And so Jim wrote this great script. He tried to, we spoke to him, and Jeff, you can kind of chime in here, but we spoke to him about trying to keep it simple, try to limit the amount of shots we have. So, we don't want the camera moving because it's difficult to direct some of the camera motion and keep all the characters consistent. And so he kind of wrote it with some things in mind. So it wasn't like a blank slate. So we were working together as far as no limitations. So does that sound right to you, Jeff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know, so he must have known about the 8 second limitation. So was that one of the other constraints that he had to keep in mind when he was doing the script?
Yes. Now I didn't want him to be limited by the 8 seconds, because I figured we can do edit, like cuts and extend it out.
Yeah.
But he, as far as like the environment, we weren't shifting a whole bunch of different environments. We were kind of locking it down a little bit we're at a very condensed timeline for this too. So, so it started with Jim, wrote the script. Then we all thought it worked. We got permission from Dr. Nye, the president of the college, to use him. And we used him as a starting point, similar to what you did. We used him as a image, and then we created a character from him of the head elf.
Using Nano Banana?
Using Nano Banana. And I'll tell you all the tools we used, and then we'll kind of highlight each of these. But we used VO3.
That's the Google Video.
And it was interesting because I started with VO3 and it created a nice baseline for me. But there's no way to create real consistency in VO3.
Okay.
So then I moved over to Flow, which was using VO3, but they have their own special editor.
And that's also a Google product, right?
It is. And I'll explain how that works in a little bit. I use the Google Nano Banana.
That's their image generation.
Yep. And that helped create the characters. And again, I'll explain that in more detail.
No wonder there's a code red over at OpenAI.
We used 11 Labs. And again, these are all things we'll talk about, but it's another audio-based AI system, not Google.
So you can capture someone's voice?
Capture someone's voice, edit voices, create music, a bunch of different
you can
things.
do music too.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we used the Adobe production suite. So we used Photoshop, Premiere, and After Effects. So one of the things I want to stress about this is that this is not a prompt and done type production.
Yeah, sounds complicated.
Yeah, you need to have a production background to really still produce this. So
Can you estimate how long it took how many person hours were involved in this?
I didn't. So I should have tracked it, but it was a lot of hours.
More than 20?
Yeah.
Okay. More than 30?
I think around between 30 and 40 hours is
for like a 1.5 or 2 minute video.
What is it, Jeff? 2.5?
Right now it's the 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Yeah.
And that there's also
that's not Jim's time or Jeff's time.
Oh my goodness.
So this is just my time.
And there's some fact finding in here. So if you were to do this again, there's lessons learned.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. And if you were to do this in a real world, it would have taken months. So, and by say real world, not using AI, using true stop motion characters or modeling or.
Okay, so there was an economy, like you saved some time.
Oh, 100%.
Right. And I think
100%.
You had said Jim wrote the script, and when I saw it last, it was early on. It was more like a screenplay, so it gives you the camera shots and it paints like a picture. It's very descriptive.
Yes.
So did that help?
Yes.
Okay.
Because then it helped me with the prompts for the different pieces. Okay. So, I think with the way I can structure this is how we started, kind of some roadblocks we ran into, and then what Jeff did afterwards with some of the production stuff, and we can kind of talk through how we used multiple tools.
That's what I want. That's why I came today. I want to hear all that stuff.
So, so the way we started it out was for consistent characters. When you're doing animation, you create these things called character sheets. So it is taking one character and creating multiple views from that character. So this way you can, in theory, if I was modeling him in 3D, I could do a profile of straightforward view.
Like over the shoulder.
Or over, yeah.
Okay.
And I can have these, so I can model him. If you're doing 2D animation, you need all of these character sheets so you know the dimensions, proportions, and the different angles. So when you're drawing him,
about that.
Yeah, you can draw a consistent character. So what I did is I used Nano Banana and I created a character sheet.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So the character sheets, I did one for the head elf. And then I used a prompt that created a younger version, but it was still the same head. So I used the head elf and I said, create a younger version with brown hair. And then I used that elf. And then I said, create a even younger, rounder faced, blonde haired character.
So they all kind of look the same a little bit?
So,
interesting.
So, because we wanted to play on the president's look. So the head elf looks like the president. And then a younger version of the president. And then a real young version of the president.
Oh, that's wild.
But they're all elves. So that was you might not see it, but that was the thought process anyway. So we created character sheets for all three of those characters.
This is just making me think that you really need to have AI is not going to replace animator anytime soon because you need to have that experience. Like I never would have thought of doing a character sheet and doing that. So that was probably like second nature to you, right?
Right. Well, because I just wanted to make sure if we were to get a different angle, I had that character ready to go. So then what I did is I had those characters, but I didn't have the abominable snowman character yet. So what I did is I went to am I going to really be like a geek here, but I have the Rankin Bass Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer figurines in my house.
Nerd alert.
So I had a Bumble figurine.
Bumble is that character? Okay.
And so I took a picture of Bumble, and then I brought him into Photoshop, cut out the background.
Oh, so you did that in Photoshop before even going to Nano Banana?
Correct.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And then I brought that into Nano Banana, and I said, create a character sheet and make it more claymation and have it match the style of the head elf.
Oh, wow.
So this way the style is still consistent.
Was that prompt enough to get a really good... Really?
Yeah. So once I got it, all right. So it took me 2 or 3 prompts because there were slight variations. Yeah. Once I was happy with it, then I created a character sheet of the Bumble or the Abominable. So now I had the character sheets for all the characters.
Okay. Wow. Oh, that's wild. I had no idea.
So so that was my starting point. Then what I did is I created a background, and I used Nano Banana for that as well.
Really? Oh, because when you do the video, when I did proof of concept, I had the background from behind the desk, but you need to do the rest of the workshop area.
Correct.
Oh, wow.
So I prompted. At the time, we were talking about characters walking in, so I needed a door. So I was prompting, a big door in a Santa workshop that leads to the head elf's office. And so it created a background for me, and then I brought that into Photoshop, and then I layered the 3 characters into that scene so that I have their positioning. Can you picture that?
So you took the images that Nano Banana created, brought them into Photoshop, arranged them, and then brought that into Flow or Video?
Flow,
okay,
right.
The video production.
Right.
Wow.
So
your tech stack is wild already.
Yeah. So we did the Flow. So then I started with VO3 first, but there was no way to keep a consistent theme.
Okay.
And what Flow does is it allows you to put a first frame and a last frame.
Oh, so if you can somehow get those from Nano Banana or Photoshop.
You got it. So with Photoshop, for instance, I put the 3 characters together, made them small, put them by the door, and that's my first scene.
Yeah.
And then I made them big and the cropping that I wanted in front of the desk, and that's the last frame. And then I said, have the elves walking in or whatnot, and then that they go from that first frame to that last frame.
Oh, wow.
And it would do all the in-betweens for me.
And so you had to do that. So that might have been like a 1.5 seconds.
Yeah.
And it's a 2-minute video. So you had to do that kind of process for many of those scenes.
Right.
Wow.
And I'll talk about that one scene because and this is the tough thing is it's tough to give direction to some of these characters, right?
Yeah.
So when I was talking, and Jeff, I don't know if it was you or Jim or I don't know who brought it up, but we need to bring them in a different way than walking.
It was Jim.
It was Jim.
Really?
Jim wanted them to
manifest, sort of like in a puff of
apparate?
snow. Yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I think I can do this. So I put them in, and I just had a frame with them not in it, but the door and everything, and then a frame with them in their final position. And I prompted, a puff of smoke made out of snow and snowflakes. But every iteration, because there was a door in the scene, had the door opening up and them coming through the door. And I said, even in the prompt, I was like, no door. I do not want the door to open. It didn't matter. It just...
I guess that's what you get when you deal with AI, right?
Yeah. So
that must have been frustrating.
Yeah. So the good thing about this is that I was like, you know what? We're going to go old school. And what I did is I put the characters on a blue screen.
Did you really?
And so in Photoshop, I created a chroma blue screen. I put the characters in, and then I created a screen that was just chroma blue. So there was no background. It was just blue to the characters in blue. And then it created the effect that I wanted.
Try?
Yeah, first try, boom. And then I said, okay, now I can composite this in After Effects or in Premiere.
And composite is like when you combine those two things.
Yeah, with the background.
Yeah.
And then I was able to do it. So those are things that you need to have some kind of production background to know how you could accommodate some of those things.
I wouldn't have even thought of the blue screen. I wouldn't have thought of the character sheets. I wouldn't have thought of all that stuff. And I think people are going to see this video and they're going to love it. And it's 2 minutes. And It took 40 hours to make. And so when you say it's made with AI, people are going to be like, oh, it was one prompt and done.
Yeah.
And it was like,
and that's not it. That's not it. So there's more. I mean, so with every video that was created, it created a voiceover.
Yeah.
So we prompted it to have a voiceover.
Because video generation does voices and background sounds and stuff.
Right.
Okay.
But the problem is that every time you did it, it created a different music track behind it. It created sometimes different mixes of voice. So the voice isn't consistent. So what we had to do is we had to strip all of the audio out. And I'm going to throw this over to Jeff because Jeff did what we did, ADR.
That's after dialogue.
Audio dialogue replacement.
That's okay. So it's like taking what the existing recording and swapping it with like better.
Yeah, and this is done in a lot of productions, like even Star Wars when they're like in this simulation, like flying in the air. They have the wind blowing, and it's like you can't really hear them and capture them. So then they go back into the studio and then they try to lip sync what's happening. But I'll let Jeff talk.
So yeah, well, at that point we needed to do two things. The voices of the two smaller elves nobody liked, so we actually didn't use any of that original audio at all. And Jim actually came in and pitched his voice a little bit, gave some cadence to his voice to make different sounding voices for each elf. But one of the things that we decided was, I think the original length of the video was about 2.5 minutes, and Dr. Nye actually wanted to come back on camera. The idea was we transitioned from the AI video to Dr. Nye at his desk. Okay. So in the end, we come back to the real life Dr. Nye, and he could say a special message directly from him.
This year and every year.
So we knew we needed that piece, and then Jim... one of the things that we had to keep an eye on was the total length, because the original total length was 30 seconds. Like originally it was like the 30 seconds. We're like, okay, yeah, that's fine. But then we're reading the script and it's like, there's no way. It's going to be 2 minutes easy. So I think, Paul, the original length was well over 2 minutes.
Yes, it was. I think it was almost 3.
Yeah. So one of the things that we decided to do, or I decided to do, was like, well, if we increase the length or like speed up the footage so we can get through it a little bit faster, and we have to redub everybody anyway. So the voices of the two smaller elves, I think overall it was 125%. So I basically added subtracted 25% of the time by speeding it up by 25%, if that makes any sense. Yeah. So it's going slightly faster. So we didn't use any of their audio at all. So Jim has to lip sync to those elves. So we do one take in Premiere, by the way. So this is in Premiere.
And that's Adobe, right?
Yeah, Adobe Premiere. Okay. So I mute all the tracks except the one that we're on. And what's nice about Premiere is it actually, when you mark it in and out, an in point is where you want your clip to start, and then when you want it to end, it'll kind of cue it up a little bit. So it'll actually back it up 3 seconds to give you a countdown. So we start recording him, and he tries to kind of watch the lips a little bit. It got a little distracting for him, but we just kept doing multiple takes until the lip sync was right. And so by speeding it up, it didn't matter because we weren't using their audio, so we didn't have to worry about it, the pitch of their audio, the music that the AI had put in. We didn't have to worry about any of that. So that was actually the easy part. Now the voice of the head elf in the video we actually liked. We liked it a lot. But there was music under some of it had music, some of it didn't.
That's just the way the AI made the videos.
Yeah, it was just random. So Paul found 11 labs. So we used 11 labs to literally extract just the voice. So if there were some sound effects, it took it out. If there was music, it took it out, and it was clean. Like, I have to say, the thing that I was most impressed with was that it cleanly, like, you can't hear anything. It's just that voice.
And it's funny because I think to myself, and that's why I love doing these little productions, because I think Jeff's probably the same way. I'm like, oh my gosh, if we have video that we shoot and the audio is not clear, we could separate it using 11 labs so we could clear out the noise. That's
better than like Audacity or whatever Adobe tools are out there.
I mean, there's tools and you could work with them, but this is, like you said, it makes it so easy. What did you uploaded his audio clip?
Yeah, so I basically exported out of Premiere just the audio for that clip, and then upload that MP3 to 11 labs, hit a button, and it's only 8 seconds, because they're 8-second clips. it didn't take very long. Within seconds, it was there.
And what's 11 Labs, like 10 or 20 bucks a month?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And then you download that.
So cheap.
And because it's identical, all I have to do is bring that into Premiere. So I export it as an MP3 again. I bring it into Premiere, and then download it from 11 Labs, then bring it back into Adobe Premiere, and all I got to do is drop it into that audio track. Easy.
That's awesome. So let me ask you two guys a question. Is this something, and I've never used the Adobe Suite before. I tried a few times, but I'm terrible at it. Is this something I could have done? And if so, what level? Like, I'm assuming I couldn't have done it to the caliber that you two did it. But someone like me.
Right. So I think that you could do something like what we produced, but not to the level, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
because
I'm not insulted.
No,
I teed you up for that one.
Because I really think, we're not. I think this is our whole philosophy, right? That it's AI is like a thought partner. It's something that we're not assuming it's going to take something over, but it's you're going to work with it, and you're going to be able to enhance whatever your objective is. But it's not a one and done type production, right? And I don't know what you think, Jeff, if you agree or.
Oh no, these are great. It's a great tool, right?
Yes.
Okay. The 11 Labs sounds like it's fantastic.
And we used 11 Labs to create the music for the background music for it as well.
And was that, I saw an early version where it kind of was the outside of the village. Was that 11 Labs music, or was that music from Gemini?
That's all
from Veo.
That's all 11 Labs, because we wanted to keep it consistent.
Yeah.
So otherwise the Veo would have been different. It was I like the audio track, but then it cuts to a different music, and so we need to try to keep it consistent.
All right. So what were some of the other pain points? So the consistent character sounds like a big thing. The character sheets helped, and then you had the blue screening, and then the audio seemed like it was an issue. But were there other pain points that you two experienced?
Do you want to go, Jeff, or do you want me to?
You can start.
Okay. So
because believe me, no one put more work and time into this than you. I want to go on record and say Paul sent Gemini a version of this video at 1:30 in the morning.
I'm not shocked at all.
Yeah. The problem is I love doing this stuff, so it's tough to stop.
And this really will help you in the future, and I assume for your courses you're teaching, like now you know the tools intimately.
Yes, and I think that you have to be thrown into this, and I think a lot of times I try to push this on my students too. Sometimes you got to be thrown into it, figure out what works and what didn't, so this way you know for next time, and that you're in this safe educational environment where you can make these mistakes, but learn from them, hopefully, so you can remedy them in the future. One of the things that we ran into that I never knew or thought we would is that, remember how I said we went into a younger elf?
Yeah.
So after a while, several of my prompts were make the younger elf speak, make the younger elf do this, make the younger elf do that. After a while, it would not do any audio for the younger elf. It started blocking any audio when I referenced the younger elf. I even did some things that I didn't realize is that these AI systems don't recognize left or right.
Oh.
So I can't say the elf on the right, the elf on the left. I ran into issues with, like, when I was doing dialogue, one elf would talk, then the bumble would talk, and then the
like their mouths would be moving the same.
Yeah, like it would just be all over the place. So you had all these weird things happening. So I had to sometimes crop in and this is the stuff, like, right in Photoshop, I would crop in on just the one elf so that the AI system knew that I wanted this elf to talk.
Gotcha. So that's how you worked around that?
Yeah, but there was no workaround for the young elf. I would have to have, I don't know what I would have positioned, but near the end, we had to deal with whatever the lip sync was. Yeah. And then we just tried to make it work with the audio recording. So that was an interesting thing. And then the other interesting thing was one of the scenes required a screenshot. Like right now, there's an iPad that kind of comes out in front of the screen. And Jeff, being so kind, said, it's kind of blank. It'd be nice if there was something on it.
Way to go, Jeff.
I mean, it's like, here, show him what you've done. And he turns the tablet around so the screen's facing the audience and there's nothing on there.
So the narrative was kind of broken, so Paul needed to do 10 more hours of work.
Not really. Well, he did. Yeah, this is where Paul's experience comes in over mine. I don't have experience with After Effects. He does. So he was able to basically put an image on the screen that he generated with another AI that then he basically keyframed it. So as it goes into the audience, there's something on there.
All right. So I saw that scene. I was wondering how that was done because I was like, oh, if this is AI, it's actually really good. So it wasn't. It was manually.
Yes, it was manually. Okay. I used Nano Banana to create the infographic that was going to go into it based on the stuff the head elf was saying. Yeah. So I put that in the prompt, and then I did traditional keyframing and mapped it to so it would integrate. So I think that control was an issue. Well, I'll let you go, Jeff, and then I'll.
Well, a lot of it, it's kind of like you want to be able to get nuance out of a performance, or like with an edit, or it could be something simple. Like a lot of the times the elves or the characters are looking off in a different direction than like the head elf is asking them a question and should be straight ahead, but they're looking in another direction. It's like, can we just try to get that new, like just something simple like that. Hey, have them look this way. Paul already talked about it. It's like, hey, just look here instead. And no matter how many different ways you say it, I know I've played with this too. It doesn't get it.
Yeah. What are they going to do with Tilly Norwood, the AI actress you were talking about?
I don't know. But I think that I think this is where we're getting at, right? I think when OpenAI is doing the Critters movie, they're going to make efficiencies like the way Flow is structured right now for a production person like myself it's not very conducive. I understood it after I worked on it for a while, but there was no method for me to really do the type of edit I wanted or give the direction I wanted. Like in a perfect world, it'd be nice to circle, allow me to do an overlay and circle a character and say, point an arrow and say look in this direction, or
so that'll happen, right?
I think at some point it will. And even with this production, it would have been nice to take it into another Adobe product and kind of fine tune the animation. But for the initial idea, I think that I'm really happy with what we're producing, and
it's fantastic.
And Jeff actually did the filming of Dr. Nye too. So this is a bunch of different worlds coming together, and it's not just one person sitting in front of a prompt and just spewing it out, and then it just produces everything for you. This is still a production. It just creates an efficiency, just like in the past, content aware fill created an efficiency in Photoshop, which is you could select something, do content aware fill, and then it replaces that with whatever's in the background. So it fills that area.
So if you and I were in a picture, you could click me and say content, and I'd just be the background.
Right. You'd be gone. Okay. Right. And that a lot of people were like, that used to be my job at ad agencies, right? I used to have to do all this cleanup and removal, and it just made it a faster
overnight
production,
and made it so I could do that.
Right. Well, I thought you said you don't get into Adobe.
Well, I know I don't, and that's why, because it's still too hard. So we're going to wrap this up. Yeah. Are there any last minute things that Jeff? Do you have any last minute piece of advice for people out there trying this?
Well, it's definitely to your point, Dave. It's definitely not there for someone that doesn't have experience in video production yet.
But there's hope for me.
Right? It's Paul keeps saying this over and over again. It's only going to get better.
Okay.
So it's definitely coming. I invite the listening audience and viewing audience. I don't know, Paul, if you're going to just throw the ad in, with people that are watching on YouTube.
Put it in the show notes, yeah.
Just throw it in there. I invite people to watch it.
It's really cool.
It is very cool. It's something else. It's to Paul's point. If we did this, even if it was CG in a computer, or if we did it in claymation, we would. I think they came to us with this idea in November. There's no way we would have been able to do this properly with this vision without AI.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks, Jeff. What about you, Paul? Last words?
Yeah. So I definitely I see the efficiencies. There's still a lot that needs to be done with it to make it more friendly to a general audience. But I think for what we use it for, I think it was perfect because it's a production tool. For me, I looked at it as a production tool, or a new software upgrade in 3D that allowed me to auto rig my character so I can start animating him right away. So it was an efficiency for me that I appreciated. my hesitation is I think, Jim as the writer wanted more expression and more.
Yeah.
And
His
me
vision,
as
right?
Yeah. And me as an animator, I wanted the same thing, but you have to accept what it is. And, Jeff says it and I say it all the time, but this is the worst it's going to be. So I think like to myself, this is amazing, the direction it's going, and I'm really excited to keep exploring this area.
So what I'm hearing is next year I can do the holiday greeting all by myself.
Oh, we should do that. We should do that. You're not allowed to use any Adobe products and see what you could do.
Perfect. All right. So tune in next year, folks.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have today. My name is Paul Engin.
I'm Dave Ghidiu. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Let's be careful out there, folks.
And share it with your friend and colleagues. Until next time, stay curious, stay connected, and thanks for looking through the Immersive Lens with us.
This episode was engineered by Jeff Kidd.
Recording at Finger Lakes Community College Podcast Studios, located in beautiful Canandaigua, New York, in the heart of the Finger Lakes region, offering more than 55 degrees, certificates, micro-credentials, and workforce training programs.
Thank you to Public Relations and Communications, Marketing, and the FLX AI Hub.
Eager to delve into passion, discover exciting and immersive opportunities at www.flcc.edu.
As part of our mission here at FLCC, we are committed to making education accessible, innovative, and aligned with the needs of both students and employers.
The views expressed in this podcast are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official position of Finger Lakes Community College.
Music by Den from Pixabay.
Jeff, thank you very much for joining us, and this is the Immersive Lens.
It's a wrap. It's official. It's official.
Awesome.
All right, nice job, guys. Jeff, can you speed us up like the Micro Machine guys? Because this is kind of like a nostalgia episode. So like at the end, it would just be like nostalgia. You know the Micro Machine guy?
No.
In the commercial, he always be like, I did the Micro Machine.
Oh, that. Oh, yes. You talk really, really fast.
Yeah.